Welcome to the Hey Brother podcast. Today's another First Thoughts with my brother Mitch as we break down and look at Father Ambrose's interview that was just our last episode. Me and Mitch start on Father Ambrose's episode, and then we kind of twist and turn from there and talk about all sorts of things, talking about, what does it really mean to recognize a bro out in the wild, to talking about confession and the importance of it, and, is there room for confession on Sundays before Mass? That's something that Mitch is really passionate about, and I give him a chance to elaborate on that. So, just a really good conversation, and I want to welcome you guys into that. So, in today's world, Catholic men face countless challenges on the road to holiness: addiction, anger, self-doubt, relationship struggles, and so much more. These battles can leave us stuck in mediocrity. But the truth is, we're made for more. The world needs good men. Welcome to the Hey Brother podcast, where we dive into these real struggles and share from our own experience as brothers and husbands and fathers. Together, we'll explore how to overcome life's challenges and become the men God created us to be. So grab a seat, brother, and remember, you're not alone. All right, so the interesting thought that I had was, I was thinking about this the other day. I don't know if it was in the shower, taking care of business, or one of those rare moments where your mind's just going on random thoughts, right?
Right on.
And I'm like, I think the Heisman is like just a prom competition for all of the colleges in the world. Like
Heisman?
The Heisman, yeah. At least in the recent years.
There's definitely a marketing.
Marketing?
Yeah, like Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. Did he win last year?
No. He got Bolitnikoff. That's what I'm thinking of, the best receiver. Who won last year? I don't even know. It's a fleeting award.
Well, I feel like it's like a popularity contest. That's what I'm trying to make. Like, it's just the next prom king of
Sure.
college sports. Like, that's because
Jaden Daniels won it last year. Oh,
he's pretty good.
Yeah, but yeah, he's pretty good.
Travis Hunter just seemed like a popularity.
Travis Hunter didn't. I don't know that I think I would have cast my vote for Genty.
Was that the running back?
Yeah.
Which
it was like the closest Heisman vote.
Oh, it was pretty close.
Yeah. Oh, it was like a couple. It was like 2,200 votes to like 2,100 votes.
Okay. How many people vote for Heisman? Do you know?
I think 500 voters, and then first place vote gets like 3 votes. They put 3 votes down, first, second, third.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, so it was the closest.
Wow.
Closest vote in a long time. But I agree with you that Travis Hunter got it because
popularity.
I don't. He played both ways, obviously, right? But he wasn't super impressive. He was like good at both positions, but he wasn't
not 2,400 yards.
No, yeah, he's not. But I mean, like, Ironman athlete is crazy, especially at the position where you are just in a sprinting contest for 3 hours.
What's that? Like
wide receiver corner?
Wait, what was the word you said? Or you said Ironman?
Ironman athlete? Ironman? That's
Ironman.
like when you play both ways.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I see. That makes sense. I didn't know that term. Ironman athlete.
Yeah.
No. The last one was Deion Sanders. Was that?
I don't know that was the last one.
Yeah.
Last one in the NFL, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, with any significance.
But But I agree that it might have been a little bit of a.
But it's not always that way. You don't think? Is it usually pretty indicative of talent, or?
Well, I'm just thinking my first thought was like Marvin Harrison Jr. with the Bolitnikoff. Last year he won it.
Bolitnikoff's receiver.
Best receiver.
Okay.
And I don't know that he deserved to win it.
Yeah.
However, 2 years ago, he absolutely deserved to win it.
Yeah.
But the schmuck from Tennessee got it instead. Hendon Hooker, I think. And
Hendon Hooker? Isn't he
Hendon Hooker.
Wasn't he a quarterback?
No, okay, maybe I'm wrong. It was the guy from Tennessee, the wide receiver.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I think that was the quarterback. But He had like marginally better stats than Marvin Harrison Jr. that year, but like the guys that voted obviously had never like opened their eyeballs because
because Marvin Harrison was obviously
the
freak of nature that was doing it better.
Right on.
Yeah.
But
okay, that's interesting. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that before we dive into today's topic.
Yeah, which I've got a question for you.
All right.
Are you a bro?
Am I a bro? Yeah. It's a good question. Yeah, breaking it down into science. I was like genuinely curious when he started to talk about that. You could just tell a bro by looking and seeing, and I'm like, is there a science to this? And it sounded more intuitive, but yeah. Are you a bro?
Bros no bros, I guess.
Bros no bros. I love that. It caught me on guard because I know the guy he's talking about, Jacob, pretty well as well. And I've always known them as like guys who get along fine. Like they it surprised me like to be like, oh, you guys like didn't hit it off right away.
Yeah, and I think so I go to Father Ambrose. I've gone to him for spiritual direction just a couple times. But like it was per someone sitting in this room's recommendation. That wasn't me. And I don't like me and Father Ambrose didn't like immediately click either.
You didn't pass the bro test.
I didn't pass the bro test. That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, I don't think I'm a bro. But also spiritual direction. You're catching me when I'm trying to be vulnerable, right? And and maybe it's just a little early. I just think I need to go play frisbee golf with him.
There you go.
Go froth with him, and then we could probably
some of those walls will come down. You could
and then he'll. I think he's just trying to toe the line of like what he was saying at the end about what he like wanted to grow in as a man was like, not like always cracking jokes when he's like the balance between self-service and not balance, but
the difference of self-service versus
serving the person in front of you, which thought was super relatable. And like I also thought maybe that's why we're not clicking too well either. Was that because like people that are very much alike don't always get along.
Yeah, there could be grinding gears sometimes. Yeah. It's interesting. Like, it can go swimmingly sometimes when you're like somebody, but then it can like be totally the opposite. So we're alike in a lot of ways, but so different in so many other ways that it works out. But
But and then I think so. Like I was in like spiritual direction. I'm trying to be vulnerable, and which is difficult, and he's trying to be helpful, which is difficult.
Yeah.
So I think, like I said, we just need to go
frothing together.
Go froth, and then we can understand each other a little bit.
There's a lot of good courses here in Dayton.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like
I know I live like 2 blocks from one.
Oakwood gets a nice park, like, and there's like a 400 foot drive downhill. So it makes it feel really good.
Maybe. I think my disc would end up curving into the next zip code.
Yeah. Just pulling and going and going. Yeah.
I got a hole in one, but it wasn't on the hole I was shooting at.
Sad. Oh, man. So, what were some things that stood out to you from that interview with Father Ambrose?
I felt his pain, man, when he said that Jesus is the best CEO. I'm like, that feels gross.
It's like, it was funny to see like that on his face, like almost like this instant regret. Like, why did I say that? Yeah. It was good. I mean, like the point there though was like even when it comes to like structure, like anytime we look at structuring our lives, like we can always look to Christ as the model, even if it comes to like organizational structure.
Right.
And the church, I think, is notoriously bad at that. Like,
no doubt.
For a lot of parish structures, I've worked for a couple of different parishes, and I've had some good bosses, I've had some not so good bosses, and like the
really not so good boss.
the reality of it is like even if you have like a really stellar priest, like pastor, like the church structures are just so like set up to not serve others well. Like kind of going back to that point of like, how are we serving others and not ourselves? So many church structures end up serving themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like right back to pharisaical ways, right? Where it's like, I'm serving myself, and it's like
it's so true, especially like with the beacons of light, like you guys were just talking about, that there's people upset about things that are being changed because of like they're things that they've done before.
Yeah.
But
like they've done realignments of parishes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
before.
right.
Yeah.
And it's that I think that it could be a little bit of self-service, like in that light, because like they don't like the change because it's not how it has been for them.
Who's they? Like the parishioners or like?
Yeah, parishioners.
Yeah. Like us meager laity. Now I'm like, I don't talk about no longer working for a church. I'm part of the problem.
Well, yeah.
Even though we're not problems, like, although like it feels that way sometimes.
Yeah, I just think there's people that push back on the changes that are happening because they fail to see how it's going to benefit.
Sure.
Not just them, but the church as a whole.
Yeah, yeah. And like that attitude of self-service, right?
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm probably like optimistic because like when I also think about the beacons of light, it's just like you can like what's the point of being grumpy about it, right? It's happening.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. You're gonna change it.
Yeah, right. And like you can voice your opinion and your concerns, and certainly there's some things that like that are good about how things were, but
did we explain that in our interview, like what the beacons of light is? Because I'm sure there's people who are listening,
I don't even know,
who
because
are like it's just so natural. Like so anyone who lives in the Archdiocese of Cincinnati like knows beacons of light.
Yeah, and we were at Catholic Family Land this year, and I was talking to this person from Minnesota, and they were talking about their hometown. We're like, oh, we come from a primarily German town, county and stuff, and our diocese, they just reshook everything up and realigned everything and moved priests around. I'm like, you guys, you're talking about beacons of light in the Archdiocese of Cincinnati. I know you are.
I know you are. This is the
I'm
reality
going through it. And then even in when we were living in Indiana, they did a big the Diocese of Lafayette. Yeah, did a big restructure. So while people might know what beacons of light is, they know what beacons of light is. You know?
Yeah. That's absolutely true. Like every diocese is going through reshuffles.
Yeah, there's a lot of, to say it out loud, I guess beacons of light is just a big restructuring of parishes in the Archdiocese of Cincinnati.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know if we explicitly talked about that in the podcast or not, but I think it's good. It's good to like be like, this is what it is. And in case you're like, it's not this like some sort of like empire, like like the diocese coming down to strike us down with the friendly beacons of light. It's a good thing. It's like you're saying, like when you can look at it with eyes that are a little bit broader than just how does this affect me and my parish. Yeah, like you can start to understand, like, oh, like this is not only necessary, but it can actually lead to hopefully like growth and fruitfulness. But that was like
and confessions before mass.
Yeah, like Sundays.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's.
What's your hot take on that? I want to hear it.
I think having confessions before Mass on Sunday is a sign of your priest understanding and getting it.
Interesting. That's a hot take.
Your priest gets it if there's confessions before Mass.
Yeah.
If there's not confessions before Mass, then what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. Maybe adding our own parish right now, but
yeah. No, I think it's a valid
like,
take.
Yeah, no, and that's what I just think in our where we grew up, the parish there, they started doing that because of Beacon's Light, and
sees the opportunity.
Yeah, they move the priest's bandwidth around so that 2 priests could be at Sunday masses, one hearing confessions and one saying Mass, and a lot of people don't see the value in that, and I'm like, I don't know. I really think that if you aren't doing confessions before Sunday masses, you don't understand the needs of the faithful, especially in the year of our Lord 2024.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, it's just like, I know I can guess pretty high accuracy because I'm your brother and I know you, like why you feel that way, but like to stress that out, flush it out a little bit, like for folks who are listening, like what's your big contention there? Like, why does it like make sense to have confession before Mass?
Oh, right. I mean, because like, obviously you want to be in a state of grace, right, before receiving communion. Yeah. And like something that's really hard to do actually is to like not receive communion. Yeah. When you don't think,
when you screw up and you feel like you're in mortal sin.
Yeah. And then I've been there too, where you're just kind of like sitting in the pew and it's just like, well, I like probably shouldn't, but I don't know. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. And you kind of question yourself, and then you kind of feel guilty afterwards if like you do receive, or if like, but I don't want to look like a weirdo. I don't want everyone to know, like, I don't want everyone to look at me different. Or like, oh, why didn't this guy receive communion today? And it's just like, oh, I wonder what he's done, but like, which is like not a great thing to think about people, but
right. But
because like an equally valid reason to not receive communion is because like if I have like heartburn, if I put anything in my mouth, I'm gonna throw up.
Like, yeah, sure. yeah. If like somebody's like gravely sick or whatever the case may be, like.
But if allowing people to receive the sacrament of reconciliation, before like Mass is like a hugely big deal. Yeah. And like I think even when I'm saying year of our Lord 2024, I'm like particularly talking about like sexual sins too, right? Yeah. Because like I think that's where people can be, not I guess like any sins of like addiction in that point, and it's just like they need the Lord, right, for healing, and you get the healing in confession first and foremost, right? Yeah. Like that's where you start. And then you can get the food of eternal life. Yeah. Right afterwards.
Yeah, which does a lot too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that makes a lot of sense.
And the other thing about it, I care about this very deeply, is
that's good.
Is that there's also so many people that like wouldn't take the time out of their week on a Wednesday night to go to confession. Yeah. But go to Mass every Sunday. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is sheer convenience factor. Yeah. For like, cuz like everyone will go to like Sunday Mass, whether they're like super deeply devout or they're just going to church to please someone.
Grandpa.
But if you offer them the chance to repent of their sins before that, it's, like I said, just straight up convenience factor too.
Yeah. Which, I mean, part of it's convenience, but also it's like we live in a pretty busy world, and like we should be better at like making time, right? But like the reality of it is like so many of us fall into the pattern of like just kind of accepting the busyness as it is, and like, you know, you wake up at 7 or 6 or whatever you wake up, right? And you're running until bedtime for kids,
right?
And like then you like sit down, it's like, dang. Like,
yeah, for sure. And like what I think about too is like as a parent of young children, even like to go to like have confessions before Sunday mass because of the convenience would be like awesome, because like right now I have to like leave my home and have my wife watch the kids while I go to confession.
Yeah.
If it was offered before Sunday mass, the whole family just gets to mass early, right?
Yeah.
And then while I'm sitting in line, my kids are in the pew with my wife, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just there's a massive convenience factor there.
Yeah.
That
like we shouldn't have fear convenience, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just fair. Well, speaking of things that are difficult, like making time to go to confession, one of the things that Father Ambrose talked about that I really like resonated with was like the difficulty of like carving out time for brotherhood. I thought it was great when he was talking about carving out brotherhood for his priest, brother priest, and I'm like, that's something that I hope we have priests listening to this who model that, like take that as a model and like build that into their schedule, because it's like if you don't build it out, like it's not going to happen. And so that was something that like, and it's not easy too, right? Like
yeah, I could see how it's particularly difficult for priests to maintain that. Like because I've kind of related it to like my relationship with my wife, right? You know, like if you don't take the time to like keep developing that relationship, now you're just gonna view your spouse as like someone naggy. But like the thing with that is that you're living with that person, right?
But it's a great analogy because it's like the same way that like some priests will view parishioners, right? Like because it's like it's a little different, like. But you start to view the parishioners as naggy, or you start to view your kids as naggy if you're not like actually like prioritizing that time with for your wife, like your best friend, right?
Right.
It's so easy to forget like that friendship when you get kind of locked into the busyness of things, and if you're not living out of that, like it's a hard life to live.
Right. And I guess what I'm saying is too is that like priests like not like making the time for like that fraternal. This is just like my perception of it. It's like if you don't make the time for that and things start to go sour with like fellow priests, like it's probably pretty easy to avoid them, you know?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, like so you're saying it's like a spiral. Right?
Yeah. Right.
And the same thing can happen with our wives.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, no, I'm saying our wives are around to like.
Oh, okay. Now I'm catching. Yeah. Like you can avoid your fellow priest.
You can avoid your fellow priest, but like
there's only so many times you sleep on the couch and
just having like being next to your wife will like inspire you to like build that relationship. Yeah. However, with a priest, like if it's not going well, they could just like not dive into that fraternity, that brotherhood.
Yeah.
And then like not really be encouraged to repair some of those. Yeah. But that's just an outsider looking in. I'm not a priest. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a different relationship by nature, right?
Yeah.
Like where we have vows to our wives, and the priests don't have vows to each other. I mean, unless they're in like some order, right? Like,
Yeah, the way he was talking about his seminary and like brotherhood there, and just like we'd bro out, we'd box, we'd play fencing, we would drink bourbon. It was just like maybe I done goofed.
Yeah, the seminary thing doesn't sound too bad. Yeah, that's something that like, and maybe that's a topic for another. I mean, this is a good topic for this one because it's like he gave up like the idea of married life, and like he was very much feeling called to that, like even so much so that he proposed. And I don't know if you knew that about his story or not.
No, I didn't, and I couldn't. I thought that was a little difficult to hear at that particular thing at that particular time. So he did propose.
He did propose. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll make sure the audio is like good on that, because it's like, yeah, that's like a significant part of his story where he did, and then like it didn't line up, and so the reason I bring that up is like, you know, when you're talking about seminary and like, man, maybe I made the wrong choice. It's like, well, I don't think you made the wrong choice. And like you have 2 kids and like one on the way that like would say otherwise, right? Like,
yeah, right.
But like there is like this remorse of like not being able to live out the other vocation, right? Like it'd be freaking awesome to be a priest, right? like I look at John Paul II's example a lot of times, and like remember watching Carol Manning became Pope. I don't know how much you watched that growing up with us. Like,
I remember that. I watched it.
You remember that you watched it? Okay, left a mark on me, like because I was like I was maybe 11 and 12 when we watched it, and like you got Germans coming in to bomb the Polish people, like and the town bells ringing. I'm like, all right, I'm in. Like let's let's figure out what this story's about. And he like the story just made John Paul II's priesthood look heroic and like attractive in a lot of ways, and that's besides mom's constant like prayer and behest of the Lord that I become a priest. Right? Like that was the thing that like actually like maybe I do have a calling to the priesthood. Like was looking at like John Paul II's story, and so like there is this mourning like that we go through and like not being able to live out the other vocation, at the same time being grateful that like we are called to the vocation that we are in. Right. And the same thing could probably be said of Father Ambrose and his story, where like that's the case for him. I'm sure he would love to be a dad.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Like a husband, right? Like but there's like this mourning, like letting go of something that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like a part of his story in pursuing the faith. and a lot of that was like coming back to like him just letting go of his will. And I think that's like the admirable thing in just looking at his story, the continued aspect of that.
Yeah, and one thing that I thought like also goes back to connecting to Bobby's story too, is that like they both mentioned how they were like in a relationship, right, that they viewed going towards marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work out. And it made me think of me and you in particular, because like, you know, it did work out for us.
Sure. Yeah.
You know,
we dated the same girl for a long time, and then we got married.
and it's just like it's interesting because I don't like question that like that was like the Lord's will or anything.
Yeah.
But there's like not the opportunity that they had to like engage the Lord in a new way. You know what I mean?
It was less of a wrestle, right? Like
right.
With like where the Lord is pointing, and like maybe they had a chance to kind of purify more of like my will, like letting my will go and letting your will take place, because like we got lucky and like
right.
like our wills, our desires lined up with the Lord's will, and like we got married to the woman that we wanted to, right? Like
right on.
But like there is that discipline of like, and we get to experience it in different ways through fatherhood for us and Bobby, but like like in ways that like, you know, we have to do stuff that's not so fun. Like I was cleaning up puke out of my Pontiac with my oldest. We were going to pick up milk. It was just like 5 minutes away from the nearest gas station, and it just kept coming.
Oh goodness!
And I'm just like, this is a joy of fatherhood that I get to experience.
We had a similar experience on our way back from our Christmas party.
Oh no!
Our Thanksmas party.
Thanksmas.
Yeah, last Saturday. But I was thinking about you the whole time, because I'm like, I had Brooke with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have another adult in this situation. Because like I would stop at the gas station and ran in to grab like napkins while Brooke was taking care of other things, and I'm like, what do I even do with like another child? And we were like 40 minutes away from home at the time.
Yeah, that was my saving grace. I was like 5 minutes away from home. Like, stop at the gas station, do a quick grab of what you can with some paper towels from like, because like the gas station has like some paper towels right on the pump. And then it's like, all right, buddy, you're gonna have to don't move too much, and we're gonna get you home. But it's like one of the things that, you know, as a father, we get to be challenged in our will, in that moment. Like, it sucks. But like letting ourselves be disciplined in that, like, all right, we're going to give this to you, Lord. And I think that's a lot of what the difficulty of like letting go, is a lot of what Father Ambrose was speaking into, and really like, you know, resonated with me, like this constant, like, okay, this is hard. It's because like, I really want what I want. Like, and I have to let that go sometimes. And there's a place to say like our desires can be used in discernment, and like they do line up with the Lord sometime, but not all the time.
No, for sure.
Maybe a lot less of the time than what we would actually want. So, yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts on Father Ambrose's?
I thought
interview.
Man, the way he was talking about like how the Lord was all like one, right? Divine simplicity, all that, and how one thing can be another. Particularly, what I'm thinking about is when he said, he was talking about his like testimony, right? And how he was like discerning the priesthood, and then he's like, in adoration, the Lord hit me with a 2x4.
Yeah.
And then like he's like, or a soft word of consolation, right?
Right.
And he's like that can be like the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? But I think he said a little tongue in cheek, but like I really think like honestly, like for some men particularly, like a soft word of consolation in a vulnerable time like that would feel like a 2x4.
Right. Yeah.
Because like they haven't engaged their interior life like that before.
Yeah.
And that would be a rude awakening.
Overwhelming, right? Like,
yeah.
To all of a sudden be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're so used to like on a scale from 1 to 10, having like these low level like tremors in your interior life, like 1 or 2, and then all of a sudden 7 like hits, and I'm like, what the F was that? Like, like, yeah, and it's just.
But it's not even like a 7 in intensity though. Like it's just like the soft nudge in the right direction.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
It would feel like a 7.
And like God's like, you don't even know what
a
7 feels like. Yeah. I thought that was good too. Yeah. Divine.
It's like thinking like habanero is the hottest pepper.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like, oh, you just wait. Yeah. I thought it was divine simplicity. Part of me wanted to engage in that a little bit longer because I got like an intellectual side that like let's go. Let's buckle up. I'm here for the PhD stuff, but I'm like, I don't think everyone's ready to dive into that.
Despite its name, it is divine simplicity is not very simple.
Right. It's a hard thing to wrap your head around, but it's so good. Like when you think about like his justice is his mercy, and like there's a lot of good like that comes from trying to like look at it and ponder it, and like it can do a lot of correcting of false like narratives we hold about God. Like to know that any consequence of like our sin isn't like a punishment in the sense that like go to your room, but it's in like this way that's helping you become more the person you're supposed to be, right?
Right.
Which is anything but simple.
Yeah, when he related, when Father Ambrose related, what was it, the blind leading the blind, when you talk about the Pharisees, and then also like that same voice says, "Woman, like no one's cast the same stone."
Yeah,
and it's just like, I don't know, like I think both voices like are obviously necessary.
Yeah.
And it's my opinion that like a lot of people now need more of you're blind leading the blind, like the truth hammers.
Sure.
The truth isn't shared enough right now.
Yeah. It is, but it isn't. I don't know. We, as a culture, I think we're too emphasized on the truth without actually really knowing what the truth is.
Right. Well, yeah. Right. That's.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe I don't agree with you on that.
Yeah. When we go to like the Western world, like that we live in, everything is about like, can you prove it? Like, what's the fact? What's the in the same breath, we also live in like a super relativistic culture.
Yeah,
right. And it's like the self-fulfilling prophecy that people like, well, my truth is XYZ, and so like I think we're oftentimes trying to meet people in this place of truth where like it's almost unattainable to actually meet people. You actually need to meet them in the place of the heart, and that's where I'd be like, maybe we do. It's always a both and. Like we need both the truth and like the meeting people where they're at. But it's like, I don't know. You can't meet somebody whose truth is their own truth.
Yeah, right.
In the realm of thought, right? Like it just doesn't work.
No, yeah, exactly. If you're trying to like steer them down the path, like you can't steer them if they're like driving the wrong direction. Like
right. Yeah. But if you can like point to like, yeah, you're hurting right now and that sucks. Like let's talk about that. Like there's a little more leeway, but
right on.
Anyway, that's deviating a little bit from Father Ambrose's conversation. I really enjoyed interviewing him, and these are me and Mitch's thoughts as brothers, just sharing with each other. We would love to hear from you guys. Send a comment, send me an email at nick@craftofmore.com. We just really appreciate folks tuning in and listening. It would help if you guys could subscribe or follow the podcast. That helps the algorithm get acclimated to like Catholic guys, and there's a lot of Catholic guys who could use this conversation, could use Father Ambrose's story, and so it'd mean a lot if you guys could hit the subscribe button or follow and help this get out to other guys. So I hope that you guys enjoy the conversation. Love to hear from you, and that's that. Anything else?
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. All right. God bless.